some questions.
Where are you out of?
West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia. Okay.
Rolling. So, Stefanie Strussel, she's the host of a show in Chicago, a radio show, conservative radio show. And she's volunteered to answer questions about different stuff.
Okay.
Well, one of the things that we want to tap her brain on is why is it, and I've asked this from other radio hosts in Chicago, why is it that the police in Chicago don't protect the black citizens in the ghettos from all these criminals and drug gangs and all sorts of abuses? And that's my first question. And my follow-up to that is, why do they keep voting Democratic?
That second question is a doozy. The Democrats have been charged since the 30s. They've been in power in Chicago, deep blue Chicago machine. None of their policies are working, especially with the black community. And being that I was raised by a single mom who had me at 17 in the ghetto, in the 70s though, it was a little bit different time. I know of what I speak when I watch my community go from a place with corner stores thriving to now what it looks like. When you talk about the issue with policemen and the gang violence and the daily shootings in Chicago,
well, let me clarify. I mean, why don't they protect the citizens? I think it's a shame that American citizens are going unprotected.
Yeah, and in a city where very restrictive it's very hard for a good guy to get a gun, and they make it like that in Illinois and Chicago, which is very unfortunate. You know, it's a culture of not trusting the police. It's a democratic culture, which is very interesting. And nobody cooperates with the police. Everybody's standing on the corner. They all saw somebody drive by and shoot, but when they go to ask, did you see anybody? Maybe they don't feel protected. Whatever. That's a very good question. My question are to the people, the good people that live there, why are you still there? You know, I grew up in Chicago. I love it, but I live in the suburbs where it's a whole different situation. I get to come in every week to do my show, and I love Chicago dearly, but when it came time to educate my children, I wanted my children to grow up like I did in the 70s in the west side of Chicago. Even though it was the ghetto, it was safe, it was whatever, but I realized the only way I could do that was to move to a collar county where it's conservative and great schools. So, you know, every Saturday, my passion, you know, what makes me different from other talk show hosts, I'm constantly talking to regular people like myself who used to be a tenant of the donkey plantation. I thought, like, I inherited that party with this packaging. You had to be a Democrat. There was no question. I'm in Chicago, of course. And then when my husband bought a car that only had an AM radio in it, he never got around to putting in an FM radio. I found conservative talk radio. I thought they were crazy, but I kept listening because it was entertaining. Then all of a sudden one day I hear myself say, tell him Rush, and I'm like, wait, when did I even start listening to Rush? Because I used to turn from him. I couldn't take it. All of a sudden I got it. I was like, wait, I'm not a Democrat. I am a Republican. How did that happen? And so since that time, I'm unapologetic, consistently telling people, if you care about your children, you need to move to a county where your kids are going to get a quality education. You don't need to be clouded into a good school, and you don't need to know someone. I moved my kids to a white county, as everybody told me. Your kids will never fit in. You guys will never do well. And 5 children, 20-something years later, all my children are thriving, doing very well in a county where they didn't care what color we were. They just wanted, every kid gets to go to this great school, and I don't have to go and protest in Chicago to demand good schools. I'm like, oh, I don't do that. I get to bake cookies for the football team. That's what I do with my time, because my children are in a great school.
I want to say that you're a woman that should be really proud of your record and your life, and I congratulate you.
Well, you know, my mother was 17 when she had me, but she had such a work ethic. She didn't even graduate from high school, but she paid for us.
I want to say, especially raising those 5 children.
Oh, yeah. Well, luckily I have a husband that supports me, and it's easy. I take care of the kids, and he makes the money, so that's good. Okay. But my mother, on the other hand, she paid for tuition and sent us to private school by herself as a single mom, and work ethics. And she didn't get a high school diploma until a few years ago. You know, she taught herself how to type really fast. She provided us with private education. We got to be scouts, and we went to dance lessons and things nobody else was doing. Her mindset was to get us out of the hood, and we didn't have to. We lived there, but we were always exposed to so many different things. And so I felt I had to do the same thing for my children, provide them with a little bit better opportunity. My mother never graduated from high school. I only went to college for 5 minutes, but my daughter has a master's degree from a private university. It's just my thought that every generation do a little bit better than the last generation, and I've reached my goal. And so I'm very fortunate to have 4 adult children doing very well. I have a 13-year-old named Reagan, He was born the year Reagan died. So yeah, being a black conservative with a son named Reagan, my family were like, oh my goodness. If I named him Clinton, I'd be a hero. And I'm like, really? So I just love I'm the American dream. I'm living what my ancestors fought and died and built for this country. And I can't sit around and crying and whining about, because I know what they went through. It's a gift to me that their suffering and sacrifice afforded me this opportunity to be in America. And I get to be on the #1 talk station in Chicago. Rush is on that station, Mark Levin and Stefanie Strussel, the most consistently conservative trio that you'll get in Chicago. So it's a blessing. Every Saturday when my key card works and I get to be behind that microphone telling every regular person in Chicago, get out, care about your kids, move somewhere, take care of your family. And it's okay. I want to be the Harriet Tubman of the party. Come on over. It's freedom over here. You don't have to be a